Live now.
Call the meeting to order at 7:04 p.m. And again, like to wish everyone a happy new year. And I'll lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
And if we're going to have roll call now, so Anna, if you'd be so kind as to conduct your roll call.
Absolutely. Steve Weiss.
Here.
Robert Trimborn.
Present.
Gary Jacobs has been excused. Maggie Bird.
I'm here.
Nanette Metz has been excused. James Flickinger. Adriana Vondergraaf. Bruce Hamus.
Present.
Bobby Williams.
Here.
You have a quorum, and John is telling me that Adriana Vondergraaf is attempting to log in at this time.
And she is logged in.
Good evening.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So we've already called the meeting to order, and we've done the pledge, and we've had our roll call. And now I'm entertaining a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of December 7th.
I so move, Maggie.
Second. Bob Trimborn.
Anyone have any corrections, revisions, additions?
Chair, I'd like to excuse myself. I missed that meeting.
Okay, so you're abstaining, Bruce.
That's correct.
Okay. So Anna, could you do conduct a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Robert Trimborn.
Yes.
Maggie Bird.
Yes.
James Flickinger. James Flickinger.
Here.
Is that an aye for the approval of the minutes? Mr. Flickinger, was that an approval, a yay for approval of the minutes?
I'm sorry, I can't, the speaker's not working that well.
Are you in favor of?
Yes, I am in favor of approving the minutes.
Thank you very much. Bobby Williams?
Aye.
Adriana Vondergraaf?
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously with 2 abstentions.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Public comment period. Do we have any public comments to be heard at this time that on non-agenda items?
No public comments have been received.
Okay, thank you. There's no unfinished business. So the new business at hand, selection of a chair and vice chair for the calendar year 2021. I'd entertain a motion to nominate Robert Trimborn, our present vice chair, to the position of chair. If someone would like to make that motion.
I'll make that motion, Adriana Vandergraaf.
And do we have a second?
Maggie seconding.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations? Good. There being none, I'll call for the question. And Anna, if you'd be so kind to conduct a roll call vote. And I'll start off by a yay.
Thank you. Robert Trimborn?
Yes.
Maggie Bird,
Yay.
James Flickinger,
Aye.
Adriana Vandergraaf,
Aye.
Bruce Hamus,
Yes.
Bobby Williams.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you
Robert,
very much. I'm very honored. I feel like I'm still a newbie. I feel very honored to be given this opportunity to lead the commission. Thank you.
good. And I'll pass the baton to you and you can now lead the meeting.
Well, we need to entertain a motion to, for a vice chair for this year. So is anyone up for nominating somebody on the commission to serve as vice chair?
I'd like to nominate James Fleckinger.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Anna, you want to do a roll call?
Yes. Steve Weiss,
Yes?
Robert Trimborn,
Yes.
Maggie Bird,
Yes.
James Flickinger,
Yes.
Adriana Vandergraaf,
Yes.
Bruce Hamus,
Yes.
Bobby Williams.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously.
Well, congratulations, James. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored.
With that, we will march into the rest of the agenda. Item B, review and approval of the 2021 meeting calendar. Mr. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations to you and the new vice chairman. Look forward to working with you folks and the entire commission again this year. We don't normally do a vote on the schedule, or it has not been the case here. However, in many of the boards that I'm accustomed to at other airports, this was always an item voted on. It gave the board the opportunity to examine the schedule, the times, and make decisions if you wanted to change anything. There is nothing set in stone with this schedule, nor is there anything set in stone with our times of meeting. These are totally for your board to decide what is best for your board and for the actions going forward. So I have asked this year that the schedule be a voted item for both your board, the commission, and for the authorities. So obviously you're meeting first, so you can either just vote it through or talk about it, change it as you see fit, or whatever you would like. But we've proposed, based on what has been in the past, something very similar. But again, there's nothing about it for us that matters one way or the other. So it's really for your board to decide. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I'll entertain a motion to approve the calendar as presented.
So moved.
Steve Weiss?
Second, Adriana Vandergraaf.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Anna, can you please do a roll call vote?
Yes. Steve Weiss,
Yes?
Robert Trimborn,
Aye.
Maggie Bird,
Yes, I'm sorry, I got muted.
Thank you. James Flickinger,
Yes.
Bruce Hamus,
Yes.
Adriana Vandergraaf,
Yes.
Bobby Williams.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next up is item C, authorization for the Director of Airports to provide rent relief for up to 4 months for airfield tenants impacted by the 2021 runway reconstruction project at Oxnard Airport, and not to exceed amount of $356,945. Mr. Director.
Yes, thank you. So the first two workshops focused primarily on the preferred alternatives for the Oxnard Runway project that we have slated to be under construction in early summer of this year. After we were able to determine which alternative out of the, I think it was 5 we initially looked at, would be the preferred alternative, then we started trying to focus more on how to better position ourselves and our tenants for the upcoming project. Oftentimes these type of projects are done with no concessions at all to tenants, because it's a mandatory thing that you have to obviously keep the runway in good shape. However, we felt that we were able to offer a concession of waiving the rent for up to 4 months during the prime part of that construction. So with that, I'll hand it over to Aaron Powers, our projects administrator, who would probably dive a little deeper into the details of that.
Good evening, Chair Trimborn, chair members. Thank you, Kip. Kip did a wonderful job really introducing how we got there, but for a little bit more background, the staff is requesting your commission recommend the Board of Supervisors authorize the director to provide rent relief for up to 4 months to airfield tenants impacted by the runway reconstruction in a not to exceed amount of $356,945. I do want to note that in the commission packet before your commission, we do have an error in one of the figures presented in the letter. The figure I just mentioned that is also mentioned in the letter is the correct figure. And then, as I mentioned about some background, in June of 2020, the Board of Supervisors authorized the final design contract for the runway the reconstruction project at Oxnard Airport. And because Oxnard is a single runway project, diving into the phasing alternatives, whether it involved full runway closure or the possibility of some limited availability, would have still required some periods of closure. And as Kip mentioned, during the 2 public workshops where the phasing alternatives were explored with tenants and the public, we were led, those workshops resulted in the design leading to focus on a full runway and taxiway closure to accomplish the work. This method ended up providing the safest, most efficient, and cost-effective approach. However, with a single runway, it doesn't really allow tenants or airfield businesses to utilize the runway during the period of closure, which is anticipated to take up to 4 months. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that your commission may have.
Any questions for clarification of Aaron on this? Or Kip? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the director's recommendation and a second for discussion purposes.
I so move, Steve Weiss.
Second, Adriana Vandergriff.
For discussion, any discussion amongst the commissioners?
Yeah, I just have one question. It's Maggie. Do we have the approximate start and hopeful completion date?
Maggie, the project construction estimate for the schedule is not available yet. The project is dependent upon federal aviation funding. And so we will be taking this project out to bid in the March timeframe, and a grant could become available as early as April, but the FAA grant cycle is anywhere from, March, April up through September. And so one of the considerations will be, we are prepared and putting ourselves in a position to be able to accept a grant to accomplish work this summer. And we will share as soon as possible any anticipated schedule with tenants, because that is going to be critical for planning. But we also have a little bit of a unknown factor here where we're dependent on the funding to come through from the FAA, and they have not yet indicated to us when that funding can be anticipated. So we'll share information as soon as we have it, for sure.
Any other questions, comments? I have one for the director. So please explain what an eligible tenant is, and if someone does relocate to Camarillo Airport, how will that affect this number? Will they still get a waiver?
Yeah, that's a great question. So an eligible tenant is obvious. Well, it's not obvious. It's one of the Oxnard tenants that is affected during the course of the construction. So with 2 airports, we have a lot of tenants. That's a really good question. And it would be only one of the Oxnard tenants that's affected during the construction. And we believe that because we're waiving the rent for that tenant or for those tenants during that 4-month period, it provides an opportunity for them to temporarily relocate their aircraft if they need to, whether it be at Camarillo or whether it be at another airport. We're not 100% sure that we would be able to accommodate all of the aircraft with good solid tie downs at Camarillo. So we do envision that some may want to choose other alternative airports during the period of time. So if they were to relocate and be successful in finding either a temporary hangar accommodation or tie down at the Camarillo Airport, no, nothing would be waived other than their rent at Oxnard during that period of time.
So if someone gets a hangar at Camarillo, for example, would they be charged the Camarillo hangar rent?
They would, yeah. I don't envision that anybody will probably be able to get a hangar, though. Our hangar wait list is incredibly long. So the only thing we'll probably have to offer at most is potential tie down spots, and it's questionable whether we would have that many or not. So that was one incentive for us to look at doing some type of concession, if you will, to the Oxnard tenants during that period of time. Even though, again, a lot of times these projects are done without concessions, but since we felt like we were financially able to do so, it's our recommendation that we do.
So just for clarification again, so I'm a tenant, a tie-down tenant in Oxnard, and I relocate to Camarillo Airport. You'd waive my tie-down fee at Oxnard and charge for the tie-down at Camarillo?
Yeah, so whatever basis of a tenant you are at Oxnard, if you're a tie-down tenant, then your tie-down fee would be waived for those 4 months. If you're a hangar tenant, then your hangar fee is based on whatever that hangar fee is would be waived for the 4 months. And then you're able to take that savings and then spend that savings on a temporary relocation of your aircraft at whatever airport of your choosing. So if it were to be Camarillo, you would just pay the fee for Camarillo of whatever type of accommodation you were able to secure.
And one final question. So explain how the flight schools and other commercial operators are affected by this.
Yeah, well, everybody's affected. So when you take a single, airport runway, a single runway airport, and you temporarily close the runway for 3 to 4 months for a construction project, the entire airport's affected.
I understand.
Yeah, the only business that will be able to partially operate, I guess, would be helicopter activity, because they'll still be able to conduct business out of the airport. But yeah, no, they're factored into that equation as far as their rents due to the Oxnard Airport. But now obviously, you know, there's a lot more involved when it's a business, but we're only talking about the rents here.
So if they relocate their aircraft to Camarillo Airport, they can continue their flight school activity at Camarillo Airport and the tie down at Camarillo.
If they're able to find a spot, they would pay whatever fee it is that spot requires at Camarillo. Yes.
I have no further questions. Any other comments or questions for the director for Karen? Hearing none, call for roll call vote. Anna?
Steve White,
Yay.
Robert Trimborn,
Yes.
Maggie Bird,
Yes.
James Flickinger,
Yes.
Adriana Vandergraaf,
Yes.
Bruce Hamus,
Yes.
Bobby Williams.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next up is the airport director's report. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Try to be sort of quick, but just a quick reminder, we will be bringing in March the lease is the plan we have back to this board and then the authorities following that, and then the Board of Supervisors in late March. I reported last month in December that on the Northeast Hangar complex in Camarillo that we anticipated being complete before the end of December. That got pushed back a little bit due to a material delay for one of the final products of a seal coat they're putting down on the floors. So now we're looking at sometime middle to latter part of this month for that, just an update there. We're working on wait list protocols for those hangars that we'll have ready to roll out soon. As far as the master plan update, we had hoped to probably go ahead and have the first public workshop for the master plan study around the end of the first quarter of this year. With COVID, we're rethinking that, so we may try to push that first workshop out a little bit further. But either that or make sure we have a really good virtual format for that. The Oxnard Runway and Taxiway Reconstruction project that we've just been talking about, we've got one public workshop left to host on that. We've decided that for the time being that we think that workshop would be more productive for our tenants and for our users if we have it a little bit closer to construction, where we're able to cover more items leading up to construction. So where we had initially talked about that workshop being either late January or early February, we now feel that workshop might be better positioned to serve all of our needs if it's somewhere probably in a month or two leading up to the construction, which we anticipate in June. One of the things that we're going to be doing this year to try to be responsible stewards of our environment, better stewards of managing our money and our time, is we are planning to discontinue sending out printed hard copies of the packets for both your commission and for the authorities. We believe that would save us in reduced cost, not only many hours of staff time to make the copies for the different advisory bodies, but also environmentally speaking, about 8 to 10 reams of paper typically are used for our thick packets each month, and then 4 to 5 reams of paper is used for our small packets each month. What we're going to do instead is we're going to acquire a few additional iPads to have in our inventory for when we do resume meeting in person and you're at the dais and you might need a copy of the packet that you don't have your own electronic means for. We'll have an electronic opportunity for those that need it when they're at the dais. And obviously right now, when you're at home, you have an electronic ability. And then another thing we're doing in regards to our meetings for this year is we have acquired some equipment that we're working on to try to have us prepared to host our commission and our authority meetings at a later point in time when we're all set to go out at the Oxnard Air Terminal, and get away from using city chambers for both of these meetings and have it in one of our own locations in the Oxnard Airport Terminal. As reported last month, we've done a lot of work to that terminal. We're proud of how it's looking. That terminal is closed at nights right now. The rental car agencies typically close up around 6 o'clock. So us having our meetings there, we could have the entire terminal and have it set up. We're probably not going to be ready for that till about April, but I just wanted to go ahead and report it. And
Would you have them still, would this meeting still be remote or would it be on site?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can't really envision going forward post-COVID that we'll not ever have the ability for you to join in the way you are now if you'd like. I really envision a hybrid meeting format probably from now on.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, that's the equipment we've bought, is to be all virtual if we need to be from our own location. Like right now, earlier, we're working in the city council chambers right now, but that's the whole idea, is to be able to do this and a host of other type meetings that we might have, workshops and things like that. But yeah, I think the new norm is going to be able to, you choose your style of participation, even post-COVID, whether you want to be at the dais or whether you want to be a video image at the dais.
Okay.
Yeah.
This works fine, but either is fine with me.
Absolutely. And post-COVID, we'll be equipped for both at the terminal. Again, we'll probably continue for the next couple of meetings the way we're doing it now, while we get the kinks worked out of the equipment and get everything set up. But we're really excited about it. We're looking forward to doing things on airport property, and we hope it might, post-COVID anyway, we hope it might raise a little more awareness from the tenants that might stroll over to a meeting or something like that. So, but that's the director's report, Mr. Chairman. So I'll take any questions.
I just have one question. So if somebody needs a hard copy because they don't have electronic media, will that be provided to them?
Well, what we're doing instead is we're buying iPads. So
No, I mean a member of the public. So if someone from the public or some other person doesn't have the electronic wherewithal to have an electronic copy of this, will there be a hard copy available for either at the dais, or can you pick one up, or how will that be accommodated?
Yeah, I need to sort of pause, I guess, and ask staff a question. Anna, have we been providing a certain number of hard copies at the meetings prior to COVID?
Mm-mm.
Copies of complete full packets were not
No.
provided to tenants, but agendas when we were able to meet in person, agendas were provided on the dais.
So we would continue in that same format.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for the director?
I think that sounds completely reasonable. That's the way the world is going.
Save some trees and some money and a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Exactly. I hear you. Been there, done that. Okay, we have reports, the monthly activity reports.
Nothing to report other than as published.
Okay, thank you. Any commission comments? Hearing none, we'll go to item 9, commission comments for the meeting. Any matters deemed important, appropriate?
Mr. Chair, this is Bobby. I have a question for Kip. There was there a mini outbreak of COVID at the airport about a week ago? Because I know some people got sick, some people are in the hospital. I was out there, but I didn't mix it up with anybody. I heard that there might be a few people that had to go to the hospital.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's actually news to me. I'm not aware of any specific pods or outbreaks or anything other than, of course, the entire county.
Yeah, okay. So it was, I don't know if it, there's no telling if it was transmitted at the airport or somewhere else, but I just know at least 2 people that were in the hospital or have a hangar on the airport. I just wonder if y'all had to shut anything down or if we even have the ability to shut things down. I don't know if we want to shut.
Yeah, it's really tough for us to totally shut down. Even during the worst of times, we've gone to a skeletal crew, but even then we keep things open. But no, I'm not aware of any, of course, obviously other than the entire county and the LA Basin area and all of California, I think possibly, but is spiking right now. But I'm not aware of anything specifically related to our airports that's been a specific notation that's come across my desk.
Stay out of LA.
Yeah, good to hear. Is the Waypoint, are they doing takeout or what's their function right now? I haven't been there in a while.
They are. Please go support them because they're really struggling. They're probably the tenant I would guess that probably is struggling the most. They're the only food retail that we have on either of our 2 airports, and as incredible as their operation is and their service and their food, the takeout deal is not as lucrative as their normal business. So please support them in any way you can. We're all trying to help them hang in there.
Is there any way that on the airport sign that's on Las Posas, there could be some sort of reminder about the Waypoint? Because a lot of Camarillo, it really tries to support the restaurants, and people might not know about the Waypoint or think about it.
We surely can. Yes, we can look at that.
The Waypoint's open for, for takeout or something with those great tri-tips. Is there just maybe people could think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say normally I would steer clear from that just because with over 600 tenants and 69 businesses on 2 airports, it could appear to be favoritism or something like that by somebody that might want to claim that. But right now, with them being the only food retail, I agree with you. We'll look and see how we can post some messaging on there that for a temporary basis to try to have them additionally supported.
I mean, if you had multiple restaurants, yes, but since they're the only ones.
I did see it on the sign a couple of weeks ago. I know, and I went and did have some food there because I saw the sign. I didn't even think that they'd be open. So, and the place was packed. So that's when we could still eat outside. Yeah. So it was there and it apparently did work. So I would really support putting that up on the sign again. And I'll definitely go and support them.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all would, but people just don't think about it. Because I know, like on
Adriana,
there's
the Waypoint has a banner on the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Las Posas Road.
Yeah.
So there's already a banner there. So putting it on the electronic sign would be kind of a duplicate effort. But they do already have a banner on the corner on the fence.
Okay, as long as it just reminds people, because on the Nextdoor app, I sent that to you, Kit, because there's interesting things that show up about the airport on Nextdoor. There's a lot of support for local businesses.
Yeah, I believe it gets their hours. And the hours that they're open and the days they're open. And I believe it also states that they're open for dinners, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Okay.
Well, currently they're not, so we don't want to confuse that issue. Right now, they're just the normal morning and lunch hours that they're typically accustomed to.
Okay.
Any other comments from the commissioners?
Nope.
I have one. So tomorrow evening is our first Wings Over Camarillo operations meeting of the year. And for those of you that don't know, I am the director of operations for the event. And as we all know, we had to cancel it last year. So this first meeting of the year, we're actually going to start developing contingency plans based upon revenue and the actions of the county and the state when it comes to gatherings for events like Wings Over Camarillo Air Show. So it's going to be a very interesting meeting. We're going to go with a baseline event that has no sponsors and no outside support, and various iterations of that leading up to a full-blown event. So we're going to be fully prepared for any eventuality. It'll probably be a go, no-go decision again made probably towards the middle of May if the county and the state don't agree to allow large gatherings like it would occur at the airport. So it'll be an interesting meeting. We're looking for volunteers for the event. So if any of you would like to become part of the Wings Over Camarillo, either operations or administration, we'd love to have you on board. It's a great event for the airport, for the county, and for all aviation. So that's the only comment I have.
Well, from what I hear on the medical side, they're thinking hopefully by summer, it should start to get better, but who knows?
Herd immunity.
As far as immunity, the injections, getting some control on COVID, but, I don't think anybody really knows.
Yeah, we don't, but we're going to move forward as if the event will happen. But again, we're going to do contingencies from a very baseline basic event up to the full event, and then of course potential cancellation if need be.
That makes sense.
And with that, any other comments? Hearing none, move to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, before you do, I'd just like to thank our outgoing chairman for a good year of leadership. Steve did a great job. It was enjoyable working with him. Bob, you'll find out going forward that I work handily with the chairman in preparation of the meetings and so forth. So look forward to that with you. And Steve, I really appreciate the time that you afforded me during this past year and for your leadership, and just really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kip. And I appreciated working with you, and it was pretty streamlined. And I know that Bob will find that very reassuring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, the meeting is adjourned.